Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dumpster Diaries Podcast. As always, I am Justin Allen, and I am here with Moses Wartooth. And we have got an interesting story to start off with today. Like, holy shit, this actually hits close to home, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty close to home.
You know, I was kind of like, damn, when I saw this or whatever, you know. But, you know, we like covering politics and the police and stuff.
Good and bad.
Good and bad, yeah. And so this police, she got a little bit of trouble close to where we're from, man. And I don't know, you know, it is East Texas, so there's a lot of fuckery amongst in East Texas. Is all I'm gonna say, you know. But they brought down the hammer on her ass. That's for sure.
Yeah, they did. I mean,
you know,
they would have done it to anyone, a regular person. So you know, like whenever you're supposed to uphold the law and you go and do stuff like this, you got it coming. Like, yeah.
It's almost like they intentionally make an example out of people who do stuff like this, you know? Like, Jesus Christ, man. But I'm sure she's going to have a tough time in jail. Now, I mean, it's a woman who got in trouble for this. So we'll watch the video first, and then we'll talk about it. But I wonder if her prison sentence is going to be easier than it would be for guys. Like,
I don't know.
Like if a dude did
the
this
same thing
as a police officer, yeah. Like, I mean, he goes to like prison, he's gonna have a bad day.
Yeah.
You know? But
talk about living in fear.
Yeah, I don't know how crazy female prisoners are. Although I
they're crazy.
I do have a story about that actually after this video. I know a guy that used to work in the correctional. He used to work for the what was it, Huntsville prison, and he got transferred to like a women's facility. And his stories were entertaining. Yeah, he almost quit. But anyway, let's watch this video, and then we'll go into why you shouldn't sell drugs, kids. That's for sure.
Courtroom, a former East Texas police chief who pleaded guilty to selling drugs her department was holding as evidence is set to spend more than a decade behind bars. April Meadows was sentenced today to 15 years in prison. She was the police chief in Payne Springs, which is in Henderson County. KLTV7's April Peardon has more tonight from inside the courtroom.
15 years in prison for delivery of a controlled substance, concurrently 2 years for money laundering. That's the sentence for 39-year-old April Meadows of Maybank. Meadows pled guilty in June, forfeiting her right to appeal. An arrest affidavit last year states an informant became suspicious of Meadows and co-defendant police officer Jonathan Hutchison. The informant worked alongside the Henderson County Sheriff's Office as the pair was accused of buying and selling drugs using their personal Cash App accounts to pay. Warrants were then executed at both of their homes.
So Lord, we're just asking you right now, Lord, just to give us the ability to accept your will.
While cameras were not allowed inside the courtroom, minutes before the sentencing, Meadows' family prayed outside the courtroom. Meadows pled guilty without a deal in June. She will not have a right to appeal. April Peardon, KLTV7 News.
Damn. So she just...
So no right to appeal. She was just like, I did this, and they're just...
Who does that?
That's weird.
Especially if you're a cop.
Maybe she did it because she didn't want like extra publicity, possibly. I mean, if there's no cameras in the courtroom, they were like trying to keep it as low as possible.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And who knows what, I mean, that's such small areas, like.
Yeah, I'm sure
so many external
obviously
pressures.
if she was a damn police chief, she knew every single person that she had to deal with from the law perspective also, so.
But Cash App?
Personal Cash App. Didn't even make a weird one, like a random one. They were just using their straight up normal stuff.
Dude, what? Oh my God. I don't know how like stupid you can be, man. Like that's...
I don't know. You run into that problem of thinking you are the law, so you're above the law. But if you get caught,
man, that's like people use like Snapchat all the time now. They use it for drug dealing. I know we've talked. I think we actually talked about it on the show before.
I think we have. Yeah.
And what's crazy is a lot of these people, they think that it's not saved. It just gets deleted. No. That shit is absolutely 100% saved.
Yeah, it goes to a server.
Like, and it stays on
just
there.
because it deletes off of your phone does not mean that it is gone.
A simple Google search will show you that Snapchat has been subpoenaed countless times for data, to be used in federal court cases. And
I did some
like
work
that.
for a police officer that his job was going like specifically finding drug dealers and like going backlogs of stuff through social media. Like he would use Instagram,
Holy
Snapchat,
shit.
like
I never
all
knew
that
you
stuff.
worked for him.
Yeah,
When was that?
I did like odd jobs.
Holy shit. Was that here locally or really?
Yeah,
No shit.
he was a cool dude, but
How'd you get that job?
he called me up randomly.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude.
But yeah, he was a cool guy, but he was like, yeah, man, he was like, said exactly what you said. He was like, none of that stuff is like gone or like, and none of it's encrypted. Like anybody can access that stuff.
100%.
And especially law enforcement. Like,
That's like when Facebook bought WhatsApp. I was like, nope, never using that again.
yeah, yeah.
Which the only reason I use it is because I was overseas, because everyone overseas
uses WhatsApp, yeah.
WhatsApp, But yeah, like anything those big tech companies touch, none of that shit is safe, man.
Not at all.
I used to trust Signal until the government came out and they were like, yeah, we can get into that. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then after reading Snowden's book, Permanent Record, it kind of opened my eye and I was like, yeah, they got everything.
Well, I mean, lately even Zuckerberg's been coming. I've been watching a couple of things of him. He's like came out and said like, yeah, the Biden administration has really been pressuring me on what I can and can't. Like, I don't know. Like, I used to not like Zuck. I still think he's not a good dude or whatever, creepy, whatever the fuck. But he does seem to kind of be awakening to the fact that like shit is really messed up.
Yeah,
So,
maybe you shouldn't just go all in with the government.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, dude, they're that Snowden book's really good. Like that'll open your eyes, man, 100%. And after reading that, I was like, holy shit, dude. Dude, he talked about in that book, like this is just how in depth that like the government can get. He talked about in that book, man. They had when he went through training, basically like his basic training or whatever. They call it the farm, but it's where like all CIA agents go. He for like their field training. He was exposed in one of his classes to a piece of technology. Essentially, it was like an X-ray, right? But it picked up the electrical currents like in chips and stuff inside of computers. So there's doesn't need to be any Wi-Fi. There doesn't need to be any Ethernet cables, nothing. They can scan it from inside of a car and they can see where that computer is or that TV or whatever or that phone. And on their screen, it'll show you exactly what is on their screen.
Holy shit.
And he said even the instructor couldn't explain how it worked.
I was going to say, that's like alien
Yeah,
technology.
he just called it magic. Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
And I've heard like stuff, they can intercept like Ethernet cables. Like they can literally just splice them and they can, because it's just light running through.
Yeah.
And then they can literally just run another wire out and they can get an image off of that. Like literally seeing what you're seeing in real time and stuff. Yeah, dude, they're
Scary
clever.
stuff, man.
They're clever, dude. that's why, man, like, I hate technology, man. Like, I don't fuck with technology at all, dude. The only smart device I have in my house is my cell phone.
Yeah, yeah.
And even then, like, dude, I'm super careful. I mean, dude.
Trying to keep that thing retarded as possible.
Yeah, you know me. My search history on YouTube is turned off. Like, it's a bitch when we're trying to find, like, old videos to look at. Like, what the hell? But yeah, man, I don't save anything. Like I keep all that on lock, man. And I mean, because now it's like really like with my age, like I worry more about like personal security and stuff.
Yeah,
like that,
basically like
yeah, I don't want to have like my
identity fraud type shit.
Yeah, and I've had issues with that stuff before in the past. So that's kind of like what turns me on to this type of shit or whatever. And then I went down like the paranoid realm, like tinfoil hat, where I was just like, holy shit, the government has everything. But then I started kind of thinking, I was like, yeah, like what the fuck? I mean, who gives a shit? Like, honestly.
Yeah, like I'm not comfortable with it, but at the same time, like, what are you going to do?
Like, what are you going to do with it?
Exactly.
And
to them, to us, what are you going to do about it? Like,
yeah, it's to both parties just sitting there
like,
staring at him like, what are you going to do? It's like a fucking Mexican standoff.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So I don't know, man, but yeah, to go back to it, that former police officer, selling seized drugs on the streets under her personal Cash App.
That's funny.
I don't know how stupid you got to be, man.
World's dumbest.
Yeah, I mean, she was blonde.
Yeah.
White blonde lady, So, but yeah, dude, I've just never understood people who do stuff like that. Like especially like I've seen guys, talking about it again, but use Snapchat and some of the stuff I've seen before, or even like seeing videos about it and shit, They don't give a fuck.
Well, it's like all that shit. It works.
Yeah.
Until you get caught. I mean,
yeah, that is true.
It is. It's a way to do business.
What is it? What do the cops say? Like criminals have to be right 100%, like every time, but like they only have to get lucky one time.
Yep. That's
You know,
that's how it is.
Shit. Yeah, that's a fucking dangerous game, dude.
Yeah.
But
I don't like those odds.
no. You know, and especially like if you fuck up, like most people are retarded and they'll cross 2 crimes.
Yeah.
So they get caught with one thing, they're gonna get caught with other things or whatever too. So. But speaking of crimes, man, have you seen what I've been up to recently?
No.
Okay. I've been trolling a certain Facebook page in our local town. It's a page that literally shows who's been arrested. It's just arrest records, right? So it's just like their mug shots and stuff like that. And I make a point, I don't engage with people. But all I do is I post GIFs. So I'm not actually texting and typing and all this stuff, getting in arguments with people. So it's either based on how the person looks or what they did. And I put some funny ones in there, man, like funny ones. And some people in town have been getting pissed off. And like my profile is like, it's not even like my real name. It's my picture. It's not even my picture. Yeah, you know, like I mean, if you know me, you know that's my account. But it's just one of those things you wouldn't be able to tell just looking at it or whatever.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, but I've been stirring some shit up in our hometown. I've been enjoying it, you know. But recognize a few people we grew up with on there. I'm like, oh shit. All I'm gonna say is drugs are bad, kids.
Yeah.
You know. Well, the hard ones.
And driving under the influence.
Lots of DUIs and a lot of crystal meth.
Yeah.
That's usually what it is.
That's the bread and butter.
The
of this
third
town.
runner-up is assault, typically family.
Probably due to drugs and alcohol.
Due to drugs and alcohol. But yeah, man. So I don't know, but you know that cop, you know, she got in some trouble, man. You know, so her prison sentence, we'll see how that goes. But 15 years. The fact that she admitted it, like, and she pled guilty and she can't appeal, like, why would you?
I don't know. That really doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Like, that's enough incentive just to not say anything and be like, well, fuck it. Like, what's the worst case scenario? I'm found guilty and I go to prison anyway?
Yeah, like.
Because they said she's not getting a deal.
Yeah, like, she initially just alleviated any chance of her getting out of anything.
Yeah. Like, so I would just literally, like, pull a fucking Dave Chappelle and plead the fifth, and shut the fuck up. That's another thing that's wrong in this country now. When the fuck did people forget how to shut the fuck up? Just shut the fuck up. Like, stop talking.
I watch, like, cops and serial killer stuff and, like, interrogation videos and stuff. All of that shit could be avoided if they just didn't talk.
Dude, it's
I have nothing to watch on TV.
Because you and because you remember that, like, 2 weeks I went down the rabbit hole watching, like, police footage, like, body cams and stuff. And I was watching the extended versions where it was just like, okay, this is the whole incident. This incident is 45 minutes long, you know? And, dude, the amount of people that just talk themselves into handcuffs.
Yeah.
It is insane.
Or were aggressive and, like, unnecessarily...
Just
violent.
Be cool.
Stupid,
even if you're doing something stupid, man, just be cool, dude.
Yeah, calm down, man.
You know, like, don't try to argue.
No.
Don't try to talk your way out of it, you know.
Yeah, none of that shit's gonna work.
It's gonna be all right.
Your only option is to be respectful and polite, and maybe the cop won't fucking hate you.
Nothing you say is gonna help you.
No,
you know?
Especially when it's negative, hostile bullshit.
Yeah, and you're also talking to a contributing member of society whose sole authority is to be highly skeptical of everyone.
And you're already in the position of having to talk to this person.
So they're just going to think you're fucking lying about everything, so don't even try to explain that shit. Man.
Yeah.
You know, lawyer up, kids. Yeah. Oh, man. But speaking of the police, man, you know, and what's been going on with drugs and all that stuff, dude, I was reading a really interesting story about Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Oregon, it's goddamn, dude, it's a beautiful state, but holy shit, like Portland, like all that crap. Like, I mean, they've destroyed.
It's a war zone.
Yeah, it's literally a war zone. I mean, remember when they had that Chaz and it became Chope or whatever?
Yes, yeah.
6 blocks of like occupied territory on U.S. soil.
Insane.
Yeah.
Doesn't like.
And it didn't last long.
I still can't even wrap my head around that shit.
Yeah, and the guy who like was leading the revolution was like a SoundCloud rapper. You know? They shot his ass in the leg, and he was just screaming like a bitch while they were loading him in the ambulance. But anyway, so Oregon, famously, this is really interesting because I do want to talk. Oh, well, shit. We do need. All right. Damn. I just remembered the correctional officer story I was going to tell earlier. I don't know. You want me to tell
about the woman's prison?
Yeah, you want me to tell that story real quick before we move on to this Oregon story?
Yeah.
All right. So a good childhood friend of mine, his dad was a correctional officer for a long time, man. And he worked down in Huntsville. He was all men, right? Mm-hmm. And he talked about it. Never had any problems. Never really saw any violence. Like most of the guys down there are just doing their 5 years and trying to get the fuck out of there, you know? And he was getting close to retiring. And then in his last few years, they sent him to a women's facility, right? And within 1 week, he put in, like, he had his letter of resignation printed. Like, he was going to forfeit his retirement.
God damn.
Yeah, and he said, you will send me back to an all-male facility or I quit right now. Like, I'll give it all up, basically. And they ended up sending him back or whatever. And I was talking to him, and he said guys, it made sense. Like, it was just gambling or it was drugs
gang
or
shit,
some sort of beef. Yeah, like it was very understandable. Like in some ways it was
basically
actually,
like animalistic type stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
and he said in some ways it was really organized too, you know. But he said with women facilities it was literally just an insane asylum. Like they just go absolutely crazy. He said like in his first week, he said women would just like literally pull down their pants and like shove their asses against the bar and just be like, take it right now, like shit like that. Trying to like get him in like a fucked up position.
Yeah.
They'd smear period blood like all over the walls and stuff and shit and he was just like, dude, he was like, they're fucking insane. He's like, I'm getting out of here right now. So they sent him back to the all males facility. But anyway, so going back onto this, so with Oregon famously became, I think it was like 2020, they essentially just decriminalized all drugs, right? And which is really cool because if you look at statistics and and data from overseas, specifically Western Europe, they've had a lot of success with this in countries such as the Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain.
Yep.
It is really, really good what's happened over there with that. Looks like they tried that somewhere in America, and that kind of backfired, because it is America. It's just the Wild West, dude. But so Oregon has now gone back and has decided to recriminalize.
They're like, you know what? Some of this shit's bad.
Yeah, they're trying to clean it up. Yeah. So this talk about reneging, dude. Like that's a total 180. But we'll watch the video of them talking about it for a little bit, and it's pretty interesting to see, to be honest with you.
Here with us is Portland Police Union President Aaron Schmautz. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Measure 110, which decriminalized drug use in Oregon, it led to soaring overdose rates, hobbled by implementation issues. Can you talk to us about the issues in your state?
The real challenge with Measure 110 is at its origin, it was more of a referendum on law enforcement. It was more about concerns about over-policing of certain communities. And what we saw then was a lot of stripping of the ability of law enforcement to respond to the crises we're seeing on the street. Fentanyl has washed over our communities. We're having record overdose deaths from kids in high school all the way up to parents in their homes. It really is, people on the street. It's just a really significant crisis, and that led to the changing of this law.
So how did that affect the quality of life for ordinary Americans, ordinary people in the state of Oregon?
Well, I think a lot of just kind of everyday Oregonians saw drug and addiction issues just kind of spill out in front of them in like every way. Again, we had kids overdosing in high schools. We had, parents complaining about not being able to take their kids to a park. We had businesses having a hard time opening and then struggling getting foot traffic because of just the open air blight that we saw on our streets.
You mentioned 110 was more of an implementation when it comes to police enforcement. So does repealing the measure signal that voters want police to be more engaged than they did in 2020?
So this is the real challenge. And just to be clear, the bill wasn't repealed. It was kind of changed. But the real challenge from our perspective is many people who work for community-based organizations, elected officials, still worry about law enforcement's role and yet law enforcement is being asked to kind of be the vector to get people to care. And so there's a lot of dissonance around what law enforcement's role is, particularly in Portland. And it really is very challenging. Our officers are facing record low numbers of resources. We are about 800 officers short. Violent crime in our cities has skyrocketed. And so this very significant health issue, law enforcement is kind of being thrust back into the spotlight. There's also a lot of concerns about people overdosing or dying in custody. It just is a really significant problem.
Well, shit. I think the fucking rain's messing with my internet, man.
Probably
so I was like buffering and stuff. But yeah, so it looks like we're going to try to go with some woke liberal bullshit, you know?
And then, surprise, surprise, it's not good.
It wasn't just I mean, they're talking about the drugs right there specifically, but it was a lot of other stuff.
Well, like the officer was briefly touching on, but it was basically like a defund the police bullshit thing like that. And then now, again, people can't be trusted. There needs to be some form of fucking punishment, or people are just going to do whatever the fuck they want to.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Some people are good, but there's a lot that aren't. And if there's no
especially
repercussions.
in America, man. Yeah. Like, we get wild as
people
hell.
get away with doing crazy shit. Like,
But you ever been to Portland?
No.
I actually like the city a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's just, I haven't been there in probably 10 years.
I think I've driven through it before, but I was like, I made it the point to like not really stay
Just keep
there.
booking it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man. So, looks like they're starting to tighten down on that shit again, you know? And I noticed, too, like, California's trying to clean up, too. I don't know. Yeah, maybe, you know what, this might actually just be tied to? It might be tied to election season.
Maybe. So they can be like, look, we're cleaning the town.
Yeah. Yeah, we're Democrats. We're in charge of everything. We're finally cleaning up the town, ridding it of all these problems. Yeah, fucking problems you created.
4 years ago and just been letting it go into a perpetual shithole every day.
Yeah. Treating you like a Mississippi pimp and gaslighting your ass all the fucking time. You know what I mean, dude?
Why you make me do this to you?
Come on, baby. Why you make me hit you? It's like, what the fuck? So, I don't know, man. More power to those guys.
Again, dude, I feel there's no way I would be a cop. Like that. No way.
Maybe like 20 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
But, dude.
But to be a cop in Portland, Oregon in 2024?
Fuck that, dude. Nah. Dude, they'd be serving your Wonder Bread ass up for fucking lunch, breakfast, and dinner, dude.
And not even that, like, they say that they're being more, I don't know, dude. I think the police are still not going to have any backing by their actual government. Like, if anything happens, they're still going to get blamed for shit. I think the cops are just a scapegoat for
cops
other
get
crime.
shit on, too, a lot, man. You know.
I mean, sometimes they do deserve it, but as, like, normally they fucking don't.
Well, I think it kind of depends on where you're at, man, because, like, in Texas, for the most part, no one really fucks with the police in Texas.
No.
I mean, in the major cities, you get the bullshit, like in Austin and Dallas and Houston. But everywhere else, man, no.
But in Texas, everybody knows that all the civilians are armed too. So, I mean, like...
that constitutional carry, baby.
Exactly.
You don't need a license or anything. That shit don't got to be registered. I could have bought that off the dude on the street corner. It's totally legal, man.
And everybody, like, my
wild.
grandma fucking carries a gun. Like, everybody's got guns.
Shit, I got one in my car right now.
Me too, yeah.
You're not just waiting for some shit. Give me a fucking reason, right?
Yeah. That's America.
Yeah, I've been waiting to use this thing. You know? So, but yeah, dude. So, it's just wild because I think about it more from like the data that I've read about. And there was a really good book, man. It was called Fentanyl Inc. by Ben Westhoff. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't read it before, I recommend you guys do because it really opens your brain to the drug trade as a whole. Even though he focuses on fentanyl, but it kind of goes for everything, and it really talks about synthetic drugs a lot. So whether that's synthetic opioids or synthetic cannabis and stuff, kind of like what these drugs do to someone, how they're made, where they come from, all that stuff. Ironically, he was tracking fentanyl, and ironically, at the end of his journey, because he started with a case of like some kids in like Wisconsin, but at the end of his journey, after a few years, he ended up in a chemical lab in Wuhan, China, like just before COVID. It's like, dude, what the fuck is coming out of Wuhan, dude? And
bad shit.
Yeah, and he talks about seeing literally just like a pile, like a mound of just fentanyl just sitting there underneath heat lamps. And he's like, what the fuck? And they're like, yeah, how much do you want? But it was really cool because he talks about like the drug problem in America. And in the book, he kind of like pushes for the decriminalization of drugs, right? And he bases it on data that he got from Western Europe and, things he saw and stuff there too, specifically in the Netherlands, Spain, and Portugal, where these guys basically decriminalized all drugs, and the money that they saved on obviously prosecuting people for this shit, they took and reallocated that towards like treatment.
Yeah.
And also they established like safe facilities to use drugs in.
Yeah, it's called harm reduction.
Yeah. And so you literally go in, you have a booth, there's nurses there, there's doctors there and stuff. So like if anything happens, like there's an overdose or whatever.
Clean needles, clean
glassware, whatever it is, man. And then they have the right way to dispose of it. And it's interesting because I did watch, from reading from his book, and then I watched some like interviews with it. They were interviewing people that were coming out of these clinics, and they were like, yeah, like the people that go in there, these aren't kids doing it for the first time. Like these are typically older people who have a serious problem, have had a serious problem, and like they're not really gonna ever change out of that, But those cities are clean, man, with drugs. And what's interesting too is they also offer state-funded testing of street drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And so the quality of drugs is actually extremely high in those countries because of that, because it keeps
it's not cut with as much shit.
It keeps the dealers in check, versus here, that's not the case, and the drugs are extremely dangerous. They're cut with all sort of adulterants. Some of them are very toxic. And then, I like to think about it. Like, if we implemented some stuff like that in America, like, would it work? Ideally, I would like to think that it would, but it doesn't, because I don't know what it is, but for some reason, like, Americans are not like people in Western Europe.
Yeah, it's a whole nother animal.
It is, it really is, man. And I like our quality of life. I like the way we live it. I think it's entertaining and it's interesting, and I like owning guns. I like owning my own property. I like my taxes being like relatively low, like all that stuff, dude. And being able to say whatever the hell I want. But I don't know. I don't know what it is about America, man. Maybe it's too much MTV or whatever. I don't know.
Man. There definitely is something to be said.
Yeah.
Like, Americans are different than the rest of the world as far
For
as
sure.
like, I get it's just like irresponsible shit a lot of times.
Yeah. And I've tried to figure it out before, dude, and I can't. I don't know. And but America has like different cultures within it too.
Yeah.
And it even like transcends like beyond race, because not all white people are the same, not all black people are the same,
like
not all Asians.
a Midwesterner or a Southerner or a Northerner, like
and
all
you
that
got all
totally
of that. So you could have the same religion, the same ethnic group from a different part of the country, and they may not see eye to eye on something.
Yeah, like if you have a British or a I don't know,
Korean business owner.
Yeah, sure, and they have same thing, but they go to like have Thanksgiving dinner, and one's from New York and one's from Texas. They're gonna have totally different
opinions on how things should be ran. You know, and America's just so large, man. It's so vast that it's very hard to have like these blanket things that encompass everything. So when some place like Oregon that's a lot more liberal, and then Texas decides, hey, we're going to decriminalize all drugs, and it backfires in their face, I don't know. It just makes me scratch my head. It's like, you think it would work, but it obviously doesn't.
But I think, I don't know. And then also see it as like, they're like, all right, September 1st, this goes into effect. And then September 1st, people are like, it's a fucking free-for-all, and just take advantage of it and just get stupid. Whereas like, maybe if they were born into it and it had always been that way, they would have a chance of it would just be regular life, I guess.
Yeah, Americans just like last minute are just like, all right, we're going to get fucked up.
Yeah. They wake your friend up. Dude, we can do heroin now.
That was like, shit, dude, that was like when I first got to Germany, I was hanging out, Germans out drinking and stuff. And they're kind of just like enjoying their beer. Like they're drinking, they're getting a buzz, right? But they're not drinking like Americans.
Yeah.
Did you ever run into that where people kind of looked at you a little differently? Like, Jesus, man,
like, oh, I thought we were here to drink.
Yeah. Like, oh, back home, we just slam these as quickly as possible until either we get sick or black out.
Yeah, like, they don't give a fuck what it tastes like or where it came from or anything else. Like, what?
Yeah, dude. So, but, I don't know. Americans are just a little different, dude. But like, those motherfuckers over there, they think we're crazy as shit.
Yeah.
The whole time I was there, they'd be like, does everyone really have a gun? I'm like, yeah, pretty much, basically. Yeah.
Anybody who can afford one has one.
It is wild. You're like, what about all the mass shootings? But yeah, we got those too. You know, we're not doing anything to change it.
No, nothing to be done.
Holy shit, dude. Oh, dude. Did you see the FBI finally started releasing shit about that Thomas Crooks kid? The guy who tried to shoot Trump? Yeah. So, it's just a bunch of bullshit, you know. But that story still baffles me, man.
Yeah, there's more to that story.
You walk around with a ladder and a rangefinder.
Yeah.
It's almost like a cartoon. It really is when you really stop and think about it, you know. Oh man, but I don't know. But all these laws, man. I mean, it's always like, you know, tied up with like politicians too and stuff, dude. And you see it all the time, man. Like, you'll get one politician in office and they'll have some crackpot idea, right? Which is usually somebody else's idea. They're just regurgitating it as their own.
And changing the name.
Yeah. You know? And so then they try to implement changes, and then it always just seems to make shit worse, you know? I'm tired of shit getting changed. But politicians have a lot to blame on a lot of that shit, man, and how it's like managed and governed and stuff. But one thing that I did find to be very interesting, though, is the recent polls between Kamala Harris and Trump. You seen that shit?
Yeah. Again.
You believe it?
Questionable. I don't know.
Dude, it's
peculiar, like, to say the least.
They're trying to gaslight the American people into believing that there's some, like, new wave grassroots movement for Kamala Harris, and everyone is just, like, on board for her. And it's like, what's her slogan? Like, choose joy?
Yeah.
Like, bitch, you realize you control the largest military in the fucking world, right? Or the most powerful one in the world, right? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah,
joy?
Don't be talking about joy to me. Like,
yeah. What I want is a dude who's not going to enjoy that job. All right, you know, yeah. Like, 'cause I wanted the weight of the shit that he has to handle to bear down,
crush
on him.
His soul.
So then I will know that he takes it seriously. He can understand the gravity of the situation that he has subjected himself to willingly. You know,
well, that is the problem. She doesn't know.
She's oblivious.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I was vice president. It wasn't that bad. I think I'll just go ahead and get gee Willikers and sign me up. And it's just like, all right, well, fuck. Here we go. But so yeah, the one we're about to watch is a Fox News poll. But I was reading one the other day that was saying that Kamala Harris is 5 points ahead of Trump. Mm-hmm. I don't fucking see it, man. You know, everyone I talk to, even the people who are like Democrats, are like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know? And they just kind of piss me off with that whole like Republicans for Harris initiative they're trying to do. Like, they're really trying to convince people that, hey, all these Republicans are flipping sides because they like Harris so much.
Like,
I don't believe that at all.
No. So you're telling me that the whole time they didn't really like Trump, but they like Harris more than Biden?
Yeah.
That doesn't check out. Like,
no. I still can't believe those motherfuckers didn't have a primary election, though.
Yeah.
No. But this Fox News poll is interesting, man, because we'll watch it, but they're focusing on swing states. Mm-hmm. So the numbers are a lot closer in this one just because it is swing states. But we'll watch it, and then we'll talk some shit about this this election. You know?
Totally legit.
Yeah. 100% totally definitely not going to have any shenanigans going on with it, right?
Yeah. The Syrians, they're trustworthy. They can count our votes.
Dominion counting machine?
Yes.
The Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz wrapping up their bus tour in southern Georgia today at a Harris rally in Savannah. Fox's Chelsea Torres is outside of that arena where we're still awaiting the Vice President to speak. Hi, Chelsea.
That's right. Right now, a lot of leaders, the Savannah mayor is going to be speaking here in just a couple moments. There's also the president of the student body at Savannah State University that will also be speaking. She says that she is a first-time voter and also backing the Harris campaign. The Walz, though, this week, the Harris-Walz campaign really launched a back-to-school initiative, really hoping to engage younger voters.
Your generation, all that you guys stand for, everything you have at stake is what is going to propel our country.
She looks blitzed, man.
Dude, she is fucked up on something.
latest Fox News poll shows a tighter race in key battleground states. In Arizona, Vice President Harris has the edge by 1 point over former President Trump. In Georgia and Nevada, Harris is leading by 2 points. Trump has a slight advantage in North Carolina, but all of those results are within the margin of error. Trump spoke to Michigan voters this afternoon about inflation and what he calls Kamala Harris's war on energy. Trump posted to social media saying the economy under the Biden-Harris administration is killing America. Another Fox News poll shows the most important issue for voters ahead of the November election is the economy at nearly 41%. Followed by immigration and abortion. Democratic VP nominee Tim Walz is headed to North Carolina. Last I heard, he's actually already on his way to North Carolina. He'll also be heading to Virginia and Maryland for a couple campaign events. As of right now, we're still waiting to see where Harris is going to end up before this Labor Day weekend. In Savannah, Georgia.
Hopefully in fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. What the fuck? Well, one, that's just like kind of like a bullshit report anyway, because they're like, oh, well, these numbers are within the margin of error, aka they don't fucking mean anything.
Yeah.
No one knows what the hell is actually going to happen, because most of those polls are based on a sample pool of usually roughly around 2,000 people, you know. But it would be kind of funny if Trump did win Georgia, though, given his history with that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't know. I just do not see Harris winning. I can't see it. Like, there's legitimately.
Yeah, well, that's my thing. Always got to put in legitimately in front of that statement.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. They made some with their polls. They made some good points, man. You know, they talked about the most important issues to the people they polled, and the economy was 41%, like no brainer there.
Yeah.
I would assume it'd be higher.
And then immigration is down to, I mean, it's the second place, but it's got 14%.
Then abortion's 13.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
it is what it is with that shit, man.
my shit would be like, the economy and immigration, 80%, and then in election integrity, like the other 20% of that. Like,
yeah. Mine would just be like mostly domestic issues.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, let's focus on our economy and secure the border.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the two things. For the next administration, I think that's like the two biggest things. And then stop sending so much fucking money overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Healthcare, we're nowhere near solving that shit, so
that's
just
never
fuck
gonna
it.
change.
Yeah,
You might
just
as
drop
well
that
write
shit.
that
Abortion,
off.
again, not fucking, not applicable, man. I don't know. I don't understand that. It's supposed to be the separation of church and state, but abortion is one of the number one fucking issues.
Yeah.
That's totally, abortion is a religious issue as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out where you're making that connection, but yeah, I get what you're saying. That's kind of where it all fundamentally comes from.
I mean,
to some degree.
traditionally, that's why the Christians don't want it.
Yeah.
Because they think it's, whatever, a sin, but.
Yeah, man. So, I don't know. It's always, that's always a difficult subject, too, because there's no fucking answer that's going to ever.
No. Which,
satisfy
again,
everybody.
it is up to the individual fucking person, which, sure, again, that's why we shouldn't be fucking dealing with it. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
That's why I've always taken a stance, like, you know, I support people's, you know, right to choose or whatever.
Because it doesn't affect me. Like,
Yeah,
fuck.
but with that being said, I also have the right to choose whether or not to stay in that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I'm against abortion in my personal life. We covered this shit before.
Yeah.
Like if I was with a girl and she got knocked up and she was like, "What are we gonna do?" I'd be like, "Oh, keep it," you know. But she can do whatever she wants. But if she aborts my kid, then don't expect me to be around anymore. You know, that's just something I'm not gonna put up with or be around for. But I don't know. That's the best like logical thing that I could ever come up with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but abortion is just one of those things, man. Like no one's ever gonna agree on it. Ever.
No.
Yeah, 200 years from now they'll be fighting about it.
Because again, it's a personal fucking issue.
But there are things that like everyone can agree on, like the economy, healthcare,
Immigration,
election integrity. Those aren't like polarizing issues.
Yeah.
You know, so why don't they get taken care of? But who fucking knows, man? But if these polls are right, like the shit that I've been reading, the stuff I've been seeing from the news, from the mainstream media, dude, I don't know. This is gonna be a fucking close election.
I mean, I'm just saying, if the media is pushing that Kamala is gonna win, and then they just rig it and she wins, then no one can be surprised.
I will tell you this now, though. This is going to be the most scrutinized election ever in American history.
Yeah.
Like, and I cannot wait. Because we also have, for the listeners, we also have something really special planned around the election time and deals with it and stuff like that. We're going to be reporting on some cool stuff. I'm excited about that. I don't want to say anything about it, but it's going to be entertaining. So whenever like the elections start coming around and all that stuff, and it's the new year and getting close to inauguration, you should be looking out for some of our live stuff. It'll be pretty good.
I don't want to speak too much, but we're gonna blow the whole fucking lid off of this thing.
We're getting to the fucking bottom right now. You know? Who's really in charge? Where's George Soros? You know? Just we're gonna blow the fucking lid off this thing. You're interviewing some like local alderman or some shit.
Yeah,
you know? It's like the guy who manages like public waterworks or some shit. You're like, where are you getting your money? It's like, dude, send out water bills. You know? I work in Parks and Recreation. But yeah, man, they really just keep pushing for Harris, and I just really don't see it, man. You know, I mean, based on what the mainstream media is saying, but when I say I don't see it, I go out and I talk to people, and I never meet a Harris supporter, like ever. You know, once in a blue moon, I'll come across one, right? But for every Harris supporter, dude, there's like 10 Trump supporters. Now, given the benefit of the doubt, we live in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously there's that, because Texas is the greatest country in the world. We all know it. But so I don't know, maybe it'd be different if we were like in New York or Ohio or, I don't know, California or Oregon. Probably Oregon.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Things are turning around.
True.
So people just getting tired of this shit. But I'm telling you, man, I think if she becomes president, she actually does, we're going to be in another actual war. There's going to be... Shit, I think my dog's freaking out. Should be alright. There's going to be another conflict that we get dragged into. It's going to be like Afghanistan or Iraq all over again.
Yeah.
Something's going to rope us in. Somebody's going to take advantage.
Probably fucking China and Taiwan.
Who knows, man? Who really knows? I don't know what my dog's barking at. But, so... That's what has me concerned. And she doesn't seem like she has like the spine and like the backing to actually look.
Or the knowledge.
Yeah. Or the fucking brain.
Yeah.
Like, you know, turn your fucking brain. I mean, it's like the shit, you know, anytime she talks, man, she looks like she's fucked up on something. And like, I mean, you can tell there's differences in her behavior when she's speaking. Sure, okay, fuck it. She might be tired. Who gives a fuck? Dude, what we just saw, that's drugs and alcohol. I got tons of friends who are alcoholics and drug addicts. Like, I've seen this behavior a lot. I know what I'm talking about. I live in a very poor community in East Texas. Trust me. Like, so she's on some fucking downers and she's boozing, man. That's all she's doing. She probably booze cruising too. All right?
Probably.
You see that? She's a fucking DUI, a presidential candidate or some shit. You know? But, so, I mean, I don't know. I just don't think being president, man, you got to have a vibe, dude. Even if you're like a lean left, or if you lean right, whatever it may be, you got to have some sort of bravado to you, man, to like that swagger with it, you know. You got to be able to sit in a room with literal dictators and look them in the eye and just not be a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, what's she gonna go in there and be like, oh, it's anti-Kamala, like choose joy, and then Putin's gonna be like, you're lucky I don't fucking bomb your plane on the way out of here. You know what I mean? Like, for real. So, I don't fucking know. But, and even then, dude, because like I go to school, you know, speaking of that, start of the new semester, whoop-de-fucking doing that, man. Yeah, I already got a shit ton of homework. This is great. Being 33, surrounded by like 22-year-old kids all day. Like, fucking boy, does that time fly. You know? But you know, I talk to some of these guys and stuff, and like, even when they're more liberal, like they're just like, yeah, we don't like Harris. And I'm like, well,
because there's nothing to like. I mean,
yeah, and I'm like, well, you shouldn't like her because you didn't get to fucking choose her, did you?
Yeah.
And I was like, in a party that didn't give you a primary election, you should really stop and think about if you really want to continue to support that party.
Yeah. Who's calling who a Nazi?
Yeah, because I'm not saying that election was rigged because they didn't fucking even have that primary election. So how can you rig an election that didn't even happen?
Mm-hmm.
But I was reading some stuff like rumor mill on some of my back channels out there on the deep corners of the internet that it was a hostile fucking takeover that they pulled on Biden. Did you hear any of that shit?
Yeah, I did hear rumors of that shit.
Yeah,
too,
apparently like the fucking, I guess the fucking shot callers and fucking the Democratic Party came up to Biden and basically they're like, you're done. And then apparently Kamala did some like snake weasel shit and was like, well, I can do it.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, put that bitch up.
Yeah, they were like, toss her up, whatever.
It's like she checks every DEI box imaginable.
Yeah, because plus, I mean, it makes sense even because like the week prior, Biden was going on tour being like, they're not taking me down. I'm in this to win it. Like and then the next day or the next week, he sends like a letter that says,
I think he's
I'm out of
dead.
here. I'm not putting it past
Have you
him.
since they announced that she was running? Have you heard anything from him?
No.
Like he got COVID. Like where the fuck has he been? Has he even given like a statement, like a release, like a press release, anything?
I don't know. They are totally swept that shit under the rug, man.
Like he's not in the news.
That's probably why they're blasting her ass so much too. Is they're just propping her up, so you just forget about every other thing that's going on.
I think Biden's dead, or he's either like severely incapacitated. Something fucking happened. Like maybe he had a stroke or some shit.
Yeah, he like can't function anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because that dude like clear as day was having some issues. Like if you look at him day one of presidency compared to like now.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that
terrible decline.
3.5 years. That ate through him real fucking fast, dude. So, and that tells me if it's at that rate, man, that's something like dementia.
Yeah.
You know, where you actually your brain tissue is literally getting damaged actively with every breath. You know. So, but I don't know. We got another video about Kamala Harris though that we need to watch, man.
Yeah, because this one brings Trump into the mix.
Yeah, and. So obviously, you know, it's election season, so they're running these campaigns, and famously, everyone just slings mud, right? Just slinging shit on each other, trying to make each other look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump had an incident at Arlington National Cemetery that the mainstream media has blown out of proportion, and like the Harris campaign is getting behind it, and they're just fucking stupid, man. Like this whole thing is stupid right here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You know, but we'll watch the video and then we'll talk some shit about it and see what we get to.
Vice President Kamala Harris says former President Trump disrespected sacred grounds in his visit to Arlington National Cemetery last week. In a statement posted to X this weekend, Harris criticized the visit, calling Arlington, quote, a solemn place where we come together to honor American heroes, not a place for politics. Trump is facing backlash after a cemetery employee said they were pushed by campaign aides as they filmed the former president ignoring cemetery rules. Trump campaign officials say they had permission to bring someone to record video. And the controversy at Arlington National Cemetery is not something 2nd District Congresswoman Jen Kiggans wants to talk about. As a Navy veteran, Kiggans has placed veterans' issues at the top of her political platform. Federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities within Army National Military cemeteries. When asked whether Trump owes the family of the buried war heroes an apology for shooting what appeared to be a campaign ad there, she criticized President Biden.
I know that Donald Trump was at Arlington. I don't know the details of that visit, but I know that President Biden and the presidential candidate Kamala Harris were not at Arlington. I didn't see anything that have them actually remembering those 13 deaths.
Those 13 deaths are the service members who died 3 years ago during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Both President Biden and Vice President Harris issued statements marking the somber anniversary.
Damn. So from my understanding, basically Trump just showed up and laid some flowers on the
last week,
Donald
Trump tarnished the sacred.
Took a few photographs and they made a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, but I like how that woman was talking. She was like, well, you know, like Biden and Harris were not here.
Yeah, like at least Trump actually showed up to.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like he just showed up, man.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like Kamala, she was talking shit about like saying like, oh, that's a sacred ground. Like she's never been there.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Like fuck her, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
She even know where it's at? Can you point it out on the map?
Highly doubt it. And Biden's the fucking reason those guys got killed in the first place.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That shit is solely on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
which I'm sure if I was the family and any like relative or whatever was buried there, I would not want Biden or Kamala to be anywhere fucking around me.
Yeah, no, like for sure. You are literally the reason.
Yeah, like get out of here right now.
Yeah, that's still one of the biggest blunders I think that will ever go down in American history.
Yeah,
was
I mean,
from Afghanistan.
You want to talk about stupid?
It's fucking stupid. It's fucking retarded, man. But I don't know.
Trump goes to a cemetery to pay respects to a soldier, and they try to flip it around and say he's an asshole
because he got some pictures taken of him while he was there.
Which I heard that he got clearance, like someone told him.
That's what it said in the video too.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, like we had permission to film there, and it's like I don't consider that to be a political event. They're like, well, he was planning on using it for his rally or
they don't
for his
know
campaign.
that.
Yeah, but even if he did, like, fuck it. Like, what? Like, are we getting that? We doing this right
really,
now?
you're gonna single that out, like, out of everything else that goes on.
We doing this right now? Like, come on.
You know the state of the world we're in, though, right? Like, you're gonna point this shit out.
Jesus Christ, man. I mean, the world's getting fucked up. That's for fucking sure.
It is.
But yeah, I don't know. That shit with the Kamala Harris coming after Trump is super petty because that's just what they do, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Dems are like the worst about it. They really are. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some shitbags in the Republican
They're
Party.
just like extremely hypocritical, which pisses me off. Like they're the first ones to throw blame or say someone's doing something and then turn around and do the exact same fucking thing.
But Harris is commenting on like basically Trump getting a photo taken. Pretty much is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Call it what it is. Even though, in my opinion, he didn't disrespect anything or whatever. But meanwhile, in fucking goddamn Aurora, Colorado, there's essentially a Venezuelan gang taking over.
Yeah, trying to run shit over there.
Yeah, dude. And like no one's really covering it. Well, there's a few people who are starting to cover it now.
But they're trying to keep it hush because of immigration issues.
Yeah.
Is what they're coming out with it.
Because like the police are like, hey, like this is directly related to immigration. Like we're having problems with these Venezuelan gangs coming up and doing this shit. And the mayor released an official statement and said that it was in no way, shape, form, or fashion related or associated to immigration. And like I think the police chief down there or some shit was just like, that's bullshit.
Yeah. So again, you're gonna take what a mayor is trying to say versus the police who are literally working with the situation. Like
that's a mayor that's just trying to stay in office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight, for the first time, the DEA confirms they are looking into criminal activity in our area allegedly committed by a Venezuelan gang.
The Tren de Aragua gang has been labeled by the White House as a transnational criminal organization. In a statement obtained by Denver 7 Investigates, the DEA says agents have seized multi-kilogram quantities of fentanyl destined for the Denver metro area from individuals believed to be members and or associates of the gang, but also added, quote, it is not appropriate for the DEA or to offer any additional comments on the organization's role or presence in the region.
Now, while the DEA stopped short of saying the gang's here, local law enforcement is making that connection. From Aurora Police tonight, APD has been increasingly collecting evidence to show the gang is connected to crimes in the area. And Denver Police says this: there are reasons to believe that members of this gang are tied to crimes in the area, but Denver Police adds the DPD is not aware of any apartment building being taken over by the gang in Denver.
Recently, an apartment complex in Aurora was shut down because of numerous code violations. The property managers claim they couldn't fix the problems because they say the gang took over the complex. But the city of Aurora says that it was years of code violations that are separate from any criminal activity, with the police department adding that they created a task force to investigate the gang's alleged ties to Aurora.
Denver 7 will continue to follow the story, and we will update you when we learn more.
Damn. They just like straight up taking over the block, dude.
I guess, allegedly.
Yeah. Dude, holy shit, dude.
Immigration.
Yeah.
Open borders.
That's like a serious fucking problem, man. And like I'm kind of getting tired of people just talking about it like, oh, like it's not a big deal, they're sugarcoating it or whatever. And it's just like there's a serious fucking problem with it, you know? But because you start getting shit like that, like how many times does that have to happen before people just wise up, you know? And I'm getting real tired of it because you know the fucking Democratic politicians are just sitting there and they're not engaging with it because they don't want to be perceived as like any sort of ist, like a racist. Like it's not racist. Like you have little criminal gangs coming in.
Yeah, like you have to protect your fucking
seizing your city essentially. You know, parts of it.